Yes. I was unfaithful. And not with just anyone. It was with my father-in-law. It was an affair. It wasn't a planned act of infidelity. It was a single night, and it happened at the least expected moment. It was Christmas. There were no witnesses. No suspicions. No scandal. Just two people, in the worst possible context, and with the one person who should never have been there. And what's most disturbing is not what happened. It's how easy it was to hide it. The dinner had been perfect. Too perfect. A long table, laughter, toasts, the same comments as every year. My boyfriend was relaxed, happy, with that calm feeling of someone who believes everything is exactly where it should be. His mother moved back and forth between the kitchen and the dining room. His father, my father-in-law, was drinking wine calmly, more than usual. I was drinking too. Glasses being refilled, toasts that no longer had a reason, that feeling of having had a good night. There were no strange looks at the table. No signs. Nothing anyone could later point to and say, that's where it started. That came later, when no one was paying attention anymore. After dinner, as always, we started clearing the table. Plates, serving dishes, glasses. My boyfriend stayed in the living room talking with an uncle. His mother was attending to other guests. And then we were left alone in the kitchen. Just a few minutes, supposedly. The kitchen was silent, except for the sound of water and dishes. I was taking things to the sink. He was drying them. Nothing out of place. Nothing suspicious. Until we started talking. At first it was small talk. Comments about the food, about how exhausting the day had been, about how quickly the years go by. Ordinary phrases. The kind that mean nothing, until suddenly they do. He told me I seemed different that night. More relaxed. Brighter. I should have smiled and changed the subject. Instead, I laughed and kept talking. That's where the mistake began. Or the decision, depending on how you see it. Alcohol doesn't create things, it removes inhibitions. And I was already talking too much. I told him I was tired, that sometimes I felt my relationship had become boring. I didn't say anything extreme, but I said enough. He listened. Too attentively. I was the one who stayed a second longer than I should have talking to him. I was the one who kept the situation going. I was the one who didn't step away when the silence became uncomfortable. I'm not going to play the victim. I'm not one. He said something about how good I looked when I spoke with so much confidence. I should have left. Instead, I felt that strange sense of boldness that only appears when you've had a bit too much to drink. I won't go into physical details. That's not necessary, and it's not the point. What matters is the moment when we both understood exactly the same thing without saying it. The second it happened, and we knew that if we continued, there was no turning back. And we continued. I had been unfaithful with my own father-in-law. And no one suspected a thing. When I came back, everything was still the same. The music was playing. People were laughing. My boyfriend looked at me and smiled, without noticing anything at all. I felt like I was carrying an enormous secret, but on the outside I looked exactly the same as always. The night continued. We toasted again. We sat together. I received messages, hugs, and good wishes. He moved around the house naturally. So did his father. As if nothing had happened. As if we didn't share something no one else knew. And that was the most disturbing part of all. Not the infidelity itself, but how easy it was to hide it. How normal everything looked from the outside. The ease with which life kept going while, inside, I knew I had done something I shouldn't have. No one saw us. No one caught us. No one suspected anything that night. And as the hours went by, I began to understand that the real problem wasn't what had happened, but what would come next, with that silence settling between us, with that secret walking through the house. I'm not proud of what I did. And I need to say it plainly, without excuses or detours. It wasn't an achievement, it wasn't a victory, it wasn't something to tell with a smile. It was a mistake. A huge mistake. That night, I kept repeating to myself that it was the alcohol, the context, the exhaustion, the familiarity. And yes, all of that played a role. But I'm not going to hide behind excuses. No one forced me. No one pressured me. I was the one who let it happen when I should have stopped. The one who thought one more drink wouldn't make a difference. But it did. People often talk about infidelity as if it only belongs to bad people, as if it's a character flaw, almost a villain's trait. But it's not always like that. It can happen to anyone. To people who love, who never intend to hurt anyone, who simply make the worst possible mistake at the worst possible time, with the worst possible person. Because let's be honest, if you're going to make a mistake, doing it with your father-in-law was never on my life plan. Not even close. The hardest part came after. When the routine returned. When I woke up next to my boyfriend and saw him sleeping peacefully, trusting me, completely unaware of anything. That's when I truly understood what had happened. Not the infidelity itself, but the silence of the morning after. And I need to be completely honest about something. It was the first time I had ever been unfaithful. It had never happened before. I had never lived a double life. I had never kept secrets like that. And I'm not saying this to clean my image, I'm saying it because it's part of the truth. I'm not someone who cheats out of habit. I'm someone who, that night, made a chain of very bad decisions. I intend to stay with my boyfriend. And yes, I love him. I truly do. Not as an empty phrase, but as something real. We share a life, plans, a future. And that's exactly why this weighs even more. Because it wasn't caused by a lack of love, but by an excess of stupidity mixed with wine. Nothing ever happened again with my father-in-law. Not a single inappropriate look. Not a message. Not a private conversation. That silence became an unspoken agreement, a tacit pact if this never existed. In the following family gatherings, everything was normal. Too normal. Small talk, polite greetings, proper distance. No one suspected anything. For now. And every time someone said, "That Christmas was so nice," I nodded with a smile that, believe me, had layers of irony. Because yes, it was a great Christmas. Ironically perfect. Good dinner, united family, laughter, toasts, and a monumental secret hidden between napkins and empty glasses. If someone had told me I would remember that night for the family atmosphere, I would have said yes. Technically, I wouldn't have been lying. The only person who knows all of this is my best friend. I told her because I needed to let it out, because I couldn't carry it alone anymore. She listened without judging me, told me exactly what I needed to hear and nothing more. And it stays there. I don't plan to tell anyone else. Not because I believe I'm untouchable, but because not every mistake needs to become a spectacle. I also think about what it would mean for everyone if this ever came out. For him. For his family. For an entire structure that would collapse over something that happened only once and doesn't define who I am or what I feel today. It wouldn't be catharsis, it would be a balm. I'm not looking for approval by sharing this. I don't want anyone to tell me it was okay. It wasn't. But I also don't want to carry a label that doesn't represent me. It was a human mistake, amplified by too many drinks and the least expected person. And as strange as it sounds, it was an unforgettable Christmas. And now I want to talk to you, the one listening to this story from the outside, safely not in my place. I want to ask you something honestly, without judging me. What do you think about what I did? Do you think it was unforgivable? Or do you see it as a mistake pushed to the edge by context, alcohol, and a chain of bad decisions? Because I believe things aren't black or white. There are no clear villains or excuses. There is a person who made a mistake, who didn't intend to hurt anyone, but something still happened that shouldn't have. Tell me honestly. Have you ever been through something like this? Not exactly the same, but that moment when you did something you never thought you would do. Something that doesn't represent you, but still happened. Something that was only once, and still left a mark. Do you think all mistakes should be confessed? Or are there situations where telling the truth only relieves your own guilt, while destroying everything else? So I ask you, if you were in my place, what would you do now? Would you confess? I'm not asking you to justify me. I'm not asking you to condemn me. I'm asking you to truly think about it. I want to read you. I want to know what you think. I want to know if you've ever been there, in that uncomfortable place where there are no right decisions, only consequences.